Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we are here with a video on when to spend money on skills in old school RuneScape. This is a video that is obviously subjective. Everyone plays the game their own way. This is just kind of my personal experience on it. This account that I am on right now is a series I am working on, basically from scratch, paying for membership with bonds only, and it's going good. I spent a lot of money working on the account. I can't show my stats right now because it might spoil some stuff, but I'm about 2.2k total level, and it's been going good. I spent a lot of money, so I think now I can finally talk about when I spent money, why I did, and I guess I could talk about what stuff I have left, but it's not going to be me personally. I'm going to talk individually about each skill because the progression through the game obviously isn't going to be the same for everyone, so I'd rather break it down skill by skill rather than how I did it overall. So that's the plan. As far as skills we're not going to talk about, we'll throw those up on screen right now. That includes attack, strength, defense, HP, mining, agility, thieving, hunter, fishing, and woodcutting. These skills, maybe there's a way you can spend money on them. I would not. So I'm just not even going to talk about them. You don't spend money on those skills, and those are skills that you can train if you don't have money. That's how that works, I guess. So, not every skill is going to cost money, and some skills are going to cost a lot of money. So we'll get into breaking that down and when you should spend that money right now. The first skill we're going to talk about will be smithing. For a lot of the early, mid-game stuff, I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds because I'm not trying to have a long video on every single thing and where you should spend money. I'd rather have individual videos on skills that I think are fun to look at. But with smithing, I would say just get up as needed for quests and achievement diaries early, and that's about how I'd approach the early and mid game for some skills, especially smithing, because it doesn't offer you a lot of money-making methods. And yeah, right now, smithing honestly is about a zero cost or a little bit of a loss skill at some of the late game stuff. So honestly, right now, there's not a whole big worry about it. I would say typically just save smithing towards the end. You don't need to focus too much on it. There's not a lot you're going to get back from it. So if you do have to spend a decent amount of money, just wait. Right now, though, it's not too bad. Maybe give it a check. Next up is cooking. Cooking, it's really only worth it to actually spend money to get up cooking when you're kind of at the early stages of the game, when you can do wines, but you can't yet do karambwans at a pretty decent rate. Wines are good XP at early levels, and later levels, they're still good XP, but when you compare them to karambwans, they're nothing, and they cost money. So, I would say mid-game, if you want to splash a little bit of money onto cooking, you can, but cooking's a skill that doesn't require any money, so if you don't want to, you don't have to. So next up is firemaking. Winter Tot is going to be the way to go from 75 to 90, and even if some early levels if you want to, but spending money on redwoods late game and spending money on some of the earlier logs is going to actually be better XP per hour than Winter Tot. The magic log bracket from 75 to 90, it's way better to go to Winter Tot. That's up to you. I wouldn't really spend too much money on firemaking, if any at all. The late game redwoods are nice, but they're pretty cheap. So Herblore is one that people end up spending a lot of money on. What I would say is, much like other skills I talk about, get it up early for quests and achievement diaries if you need to, maybe even sometimes, a clue scroll step. I think those are good motivators. Even if you don't get much from the clue scroll, it'll at least motivate you to do some progression on your account. The first time I would really focus on Herblore past, diaries and stuff like that is when you need to go ahead and get 90 for Chambers of Xeric. Now, you don't have to do it. Other people can make the overload potion and the high tier potions for you. But if you're, soloing, if you're, I guess, an iron, you probably aren't watching this. And yeah, some people just want to be able to make their own to help their points and whatnot. So if you want to get up to 90 Herblore for that, I'd kind of recommend it. Is going to help for Chambers. And then after that 99, I would just save for kind of towards the end. It's a lot of money, so you want to, spend money later if you can. Crafting, another skill that people spend a decent amount of money on. It's actually a little bit cheaper nowadays. If you do something like cutting sapphires or emeralds, it's only going to be like 20 to 30 mil to 99. If you do something like battle staffs or DI bodies, it'll be closer to like 50. Which isn't as much as it used to be. I know it might sound like a lot to some people, but 25 to 50 mil for 99 crafting isn't bad compared to what it used to be. This skill is actually one of the cheaper, I guess what I would call buyables. So if you want to go ahead and knock it out to get the nice little 99 cape teleport, which I actually have here on my back, it takes you right on over to the crafting guild. Very, very nice, and a very close bank teleport. You can go ahead and do that. A teleport that's beneficial towards your banking endeavors. Something like the construction cape that we'll talk about soon, but at a lot lower cost than the construction cape. So you can do it whenever if you want the teleport. If you don't care about the teleport, just save it for a while. Next up is fletching. Fletching is one that I actually don't even consider a buyable. There are so many different bolts and I guess not darts, but there's a lot of bolts catapults, a lot of arrows, sometimes even darts whenever PVM updates are out. There's so many different ways to do fletching at an almost zero cost. And I'll do videos on those in the future, like just comparing a bunch of different methods. And so what I would say for fletching is don't spend your money on darts unless you absolutely have to. You can't find anything, but I just don't see that happening. So I would say just try looking as hard as you can for more arrows and more darts to fletch. Dragon Ball. Alright, so on to Slayer. Slayer is one that isn't really even a buyable, I wouldn't say. You can do very, very meta methods with like prayer pots and cannonballs and bursting every task. Some people do that, some people are crazy. I personally think that Slayer should be the skill that you go for the most cash. I think you should do every bossing task. I think you should just have so much fun and such a good time doing Slayer and make all your money through it. And if that's the case, then I really don't recommend spending any money on it. If you got a lot of money and you want to get through the early game, maybe like 1 to 70. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's like, not even a tenth of the XP overall. So that's what I mean by early game. If you want to get through that, cannonballs and prayer pots are going to help you. But if you have a lot of money, you can do that. If you don't have a lot of money, don't worry about it. Next up is construction. This is one that I like to talk about because I think people have some misconceptions on it, at least how I would like to do it and what I think works. Basically, if you care enough in your house, you go ahead and get teleports and you think you're going to use those teleports a lot and you've really been wanting them, then I would recommend getting up to 50 construction whenever, you have those desires. Construction is one that I wouldn't recommend spending too much money on unless you're going for a goal. Because if you're not going for a goal, you're spending money on it and you're not getting anything back at all. And it's just kind of a money sink that will inevitably get you something. But if you're not getting that back upon completion, what's the point? That's the way I see it. Obviously, if you want to get your total levels up and stuff, go ahead and do that. But, having more money helps you make more money. So if you can keep your money to then spend it later, I would do that. So yeah, 50 construction if you want the teleports. Then I wouldn't do anything until 82 or 83, where you can kind of unlock some of the better late game stuff, the pool, the altars, the teleportation jewelry box, just a ton of things that you get at those levels. And those are expensive too. So if your bank's like just enough to get 82 or 83 construction, that's not when you go for that. I would say make sure you have about double or maybe even triple what it would cost to get to 82 or 83, because you are going to need to have gear to be able to utilize these things, and you're also going to need to have the money to spend to make these good upgrades, and they do cost a decent bit. That you might not really think about that, but once you get to 82 or 83, you're definitely going to think about that. And so yeah, that's one of the big factors with construction. If you don't have the money and gear to be able to utilize your house, which is what it's really good for, it's good for Slayer, it's good for tasks, bossing, stuff like that. If you don't have the money to utilize that house, then it's not even really worth having. So kind of wait. Don't push construction. It's very helpful, but it's not helpful if you don't know how to use it. And then finally, push it to 99 whenever you're feeling like it. Personally, I haven't done it yet. The cape is pretty helpful, and I probably should have already done it, but I don't like all that clicking, so I've been saving it, and it's kind of a quick late game skill if you're trying to max like I am. So that's kind of been my approach. It's one that isn't as efficient because I should just get 99 so I can use the cape teleport, but it's one I enjoy because I just want to hang out for a little bit. Next up is runecrafting. This one is pretty simple. Basically, do lavas if you want to. If not, do whatever profitable rune you enjoy doing. Most people enjoy Bloods and Souls late game because they're AFK. Some people like ZMI. Some people like, whatever you like. Go and do it. Who cares? What I put down for this is it's more of a question of if you're going to do runecrafting, not a question of when you should do it. And so I guess just do it whenever. If you're really going to just bust out 99 runecrafting off of lava runes real quick, I guess I would just say, save until you have a little bit of extra money to do some more stuff after, because I don't know why you'd want to do that. But the next skill up is magic. Magic's a skill that I think early game you should probably focus on, just combat spells, making money off your combat spells if you can, going to lava dragons and whatnot. High alchemy bracelets of ether or other things that are profitable. And then late game, you should really be bursting your Slayer task and using mage wherever, you do bosses at, I guess. And that should honestly be how you get a lot of it done, through Slayer and early game, money-making methods. During the mid game, I could see throwing some cash out on some magic, but whatever you do, it isn't going to cost too much, so just pick whatever you like and you should be okay. Second to last is prayer, another one that I really wanted to talk about. Protection prayers early are useful, so if, if you have 2 or 3 times the cash stack of whatever it's going to take you to get to protection prayers, I'd say probably worth it. Those are going to help you through quests, bosses, tons of things. I mean, one of the most useful unlocks in the game, which is kind of crazy at the prayer level they're at, but I mean, that's the fun of it. Then a lot of people kind of want to push 70 prayer, but what I would say is wait until you actually start using melee-based prayers somewhere. If you find yourself like using, ultimate strength and the other boosting melee prayers, if you find yourself actually using them somewhere, then I would say go ahead and try to upgrade to piety if you have the money. Again, probably have 2 or 3 times the cash stack of whatever prayer gains you're about to make. And yeah, I honestly feel like a lot of people focus on getting piety a little early. I think people want to get piety to like show off that, they have basically the best melee prayer in the game, and it's cool, but once you get it, honestly, you don't really use it too many places until a little bit later in the game. So I would say just wait a little bit longer than you think, but if you absolutely need it, you need it. And then push 77 prayer whenever you can afford rigor. And honestly, you don't even need to keep too much of a bank after you get rigor. All you need is like a blowpipe, and you can go out to rev caves and make all your money back. You can do that however you feel fit. Rigor's a pretty big setback, so I understand if it takes up, honestly, a lot of your bank and you want to scrub your way back. That's fine. I think whenever I bought rigor, I probably had like a 20 or 30 mil bank after, and I used that to go to revs and Venenatus. And yeah, it was fun. Made my money back. And then from 77 to 99, I mean, that's just whenever you want to do it, of course. You don't get really too much of a boost. You do get more prayer points, obviously, and you also get like boost on your prayer potions. You get more points back on those. So there is a little bit of an aid in that regard, but nothing worth like, going out and getting prayer early for. So just whenever you have a lot of money sitting around late game and you want to go ahead and push that to 99, you can, but it's definitely not important. And then finally, the last skill is range. This is a skill that I honestly wouldn't even recommend anyone pay to get up, but if you have to, chinning, from whatever level you're at, I get it late game if you're trying to finish off a skill, but honestly, there are so many ways to go ahead and get your range up through Slayer, through bossing, through money making. I just think that you should focus on those rather than spending money on a skill that should be making you money. But at the end of the day, if you're someone that's like a skiller and you've made a lot of your money elsewhere and you don't want to get money through combat, then I get it, but I would definitely save it for late game because you don't seem like the type of person that would utilize range. So, and then a minor note, I did actually forget farming. Really, farming is a skill that has a lot of variance as to how you want to train it. Some people choose to do herb patches, which make you a lot of money. You can do that if you want. I don't. Personally, I just do fruit trees, crystal trees, and special trees like mahogany and teak trees because, honestly, if you're going to try to max an account and you're not trying to rush farming as a skill, you will get farming. It is a very quick skill. It just takes time. So, a lot of ways to go about that. I personally just chose the slow and steady route to it. Also, pretty cheap. So yeah, those are my thoughts on how I would spend money in old school RuneScape on skills. Most of those ways are ways of which I have actually done. Some of them I'm still in the process of, I'm not maxed yet, but I surely am trying. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like. Anything you want to see from me, let me know in a comment down below. On top of that, if you want to see more videos like this as soon as they go live, you can hit that subscribe, or you can stop by the Twitch, which I will be streaming some Slayer. And yeah, that'll be it for me today. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and see ya.